A very good evening to you and welcome to your primetime news. I'm Nicola D'Souza and here are your headlines.
Train employees unions claim talks with President on salary anomalies unsuccessful. Experts say government's explanation on Singapore-Sri Lanka FTA is contradictory. Court committee looks into officials who earn exorbitant salaries. ARJUNA MAHENDRAN requests copies of arrest warrant and evidence against him through Interpol. Joint opposition reveals details of a web mafia.
A request has been made by ARJUNA MAHENDRAN, the former fugitive governor, for copies of the arrest warrant and evidence against him on the so-called Bondgate matter.
At the Fourth Magistrates Court today, Magistrate Lanka ordered the Attorney General to report at the next hearing on what legal measures have been taken in connection with the extradition to Sri Lanka of ARJUNA MAHENDRAN. Senior Deputy Solicitor General Haripriya Jayasundara explained that ARJUNA MAHENDRAN, the first suspect of the magisterial inquiry, had requested copies of his arrest warrant and evidence against him, and that this request came via Interpol in Singapore. It transpires that ARJUNA MAHENDRAN is in fact resident in Singapore. It is unacceptable that the Attorney General's Department appears to have difficulty in providing Interpol Singapore with details of their case against the fugitive former governor, who is wanted by the Fourth Magistrates Court. A simple examination of the case history will reveal that 1. There exists the Presidential Commission of Inquiry report into the bond scam, all 10,000 plus pages. 2. Is there no B report filed in court? 3. There exist several hours of media reports and hundreds of columns of newspaper print that explains in some detail the actions of ARJUNA MAHENDRAN. Let us remember that the Commission of Inquiry report described ARJUNA MAHENDRAN's actions in sharing sensitive and confidential information as mala fide in the interest and to the benefit of Perpetual Treasuries Limited. The question now arises as to why the Attorney General is on an apparent go-slow to supply the information wanted by Singapore. Compliance of this request must easily be elementary. It has been evident that the Attorney General did indeed extend kid-glove treatment to the Prime Minister when he appeared as a witness. No such kid-glove treatment was extended to the 60-plus other witnesses, or notably to then-Minister Ravi Karunanayake. The Attorney General, Jayanta Jayasuriya, pointedly did not permit Messrs. Dapula Dilivera and Yasanta Kodagoda from questioning either the Prime Minister or Ministers Hashim and Samaravikrama. Instead, the Prime Minister was sent a written questionnaire. A fundamental aspect of cross-examination to elicit facts from the known to the unknown was thus conveniently evaded. Why would the Attorney General act to, in effect, protect the Prime Minister? The Prime Minister confirmed in a statement in Parliament that it was he who insisted on the change in the system of awarding bonds. ARJUNA MAHENDRAN confirmed that he had only acted upon the instructions of the Prime Minister. ARJUNA MAHENDRAN also took responsibility for not informing the primary dealers that an advertised 1 billion would become a take-up of 10 billion. The Attorney General is due for promotion to the highest court in the near future. Is this the reason? Now you say, well, we must let the Attorney General get on with it. But this Attorney General might well become the next another member of the Supreme Court. Right. So then we'll find. Let's say that what happens if Ranil Wickremesinghe becomes the head of the country? Is this man who treated the man with kid glove treatment, is he going to actually be part of some prosecution?
No, that is the very reason for us that the Aegis Department has gone into a freeze mode.
Yeah.
The Aegis Department, having got the Bond Commission report,
yeah,
and having had vibrant officers prosecuting that or representing the Attorney General's Department and helping the Commission to come out with the truth.
Yeah.
Now it has gone into cold storage.
Indeed.
So why it has gone into cold storage is because the Attorney General is supposed to retire when he's 60, that is in a few months' time.
Indeed.
Then there is another opening in the Supreme Court, you can stay till 65.
Yeah.
So all these, you scratch my back, I scratch yours.
Newsfirst reported on how a 10 billion rupee loan was granted to a company from a state bank, where the executive deputy chairman of the company is a director of the bank that has granted the loan. UPFA parliamentarian Kanchana Wijesekara says the private company involved in this controversy, MTD Walkers PLC, has not paid 3.4 million rupees that is due to be paid to the government.
The Modera Fisheries Harbour is being given on lease to CML Walkers. The company is Walkers Colombo Shipyard. We have received a letter from the General Manager of the Ceylon Fishery Harbours Corporation to the Financial Manager that from November 2017 to June this year, the Walkers Colombo Shipyard has not paid the tax that was due to the Ceylon Fishery Harbours Corporation. The letter says the value is 3.4 million rupees. As the joint oppositions, we lodge a complaint at the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, and we will take the relevant legal action.
The governor of the central bank had reportedly said there was no problem for a director of a bank to obtain a loan from the same bank. However, the creditworthiness of a person or company has to be looked into when granting loans. This particular company in question has to make payments of 3.5 million rupees to the government and has not paid the utility bills since 2015. Was the creditworthiness of this company looked into before granting the company a 10 billion rupee loan?
COPE Chairman Sunil Handunetty revealed in Parliament today the details of personnel obtaining high salaries from state banks.
A proposal was put forward to COPE seeking a year's service extension for the General Manager of People's Bank after he completes 60 years. However, the General Manager Vasanta Kumar had joined the bank in 2001 on contract basis for a pay of 100,000 rupees a month. However, at present he is paid 2.1 million rupees. He had obtained 75 million rupees as arrears of the annual salary increments. COPE rejected the request for a service extension. The Finance Ministry and the Ministry of Public Enterprises had accepted our recommendations, and those recommendations will be implemented. This relates to one of the two major state banks. We request the Finance Minister and the government to not destabilize the institution. When it comes to state and financial institutions, we need to have the ability to appoint persons we need to the top positions. We must also bear in mind the salary they would draw if they join a private institution rather than a government institution. Heads of institutions may even draw salaries that are 10 or 20 times higher than the salaries of MPs and ministers. We must not single out the Bank of Ceylon or the People's Bank. We must reach a common understanding on this matter. Suren Watwata was employed at Sri Lankan Airlines for a 3 million rupee salary. What was done? He was removed for a 6 million rupee salary. If this is the case, the airline could have been revived. When trade unions of the country raised questions about their rights, the government pointed out that they received exorbitant salaries. Even when the GMOA and the railway trade unions held protests, the government spoke about the of paying people high salaries if the decisions that they take are to grant loans in billions to companies that are not credit-worthy.
Railway trade unions claim that discussions held with the President to resolve salary anomalies were unsuccessful. They made these comments following a meeting held at the Presidential Secretariat earlier today.
Even through the media, we saw the Finance Minister's objections to this. Other than that, we have no issues. We will have to act based on the collective decisions made by all the unions. If we do take a decision, it will be one that is agreed upon by all members.
Railway trade unions carried out several trade union actions from time to time, claiming that the Cabinet subcommittee headed by Dr. Sara Tamrugama, which was appointed to look into salary anomalies into railway workers, had not implemented the terms agreed upon during discussion. The strike action, which commenced on the 8th of August without prior notice was only called off following an intervention by the President, ensuring that their issues will be resolved. However, Minister of Finance Mangala Samaraweera expressed his objection to resolve these anomalies during cabinet meetings and in other places.
We won't increase their salary. We will not.
The minister then pointed out that salary irregularities will pop up in other sectors as well if these salaries are increased. Even at present, based on an order from the President, a special commission has been appointed to review salaries of the state sector and formulate a salary policy. However, the committee is yet to present its recommendations on how to resolve salary anomalies in several sectors, including railway, health, higher education, and post.
Details about a so-called web journalist who slings mud at politicians and others by labeling it as the use of free media were revealed in Parliament today. It was further revealed that senior members of government have paid this individual in question to criticize another group in the government.
I state with responsibility that 3 key officials of the government have used Sandruwan Senadira, against whom the court has issued a warrant and now living in London, to create a web mafia. They have taken steps to attack and ruin the reputation of a group of joint opposition leaders and civil activists. According to what we know, he was paid £25,000 to attack the MPs who were opposing the government. The government leaders are now attempting to attack a group of MPs and the UNP backbenchers to fulfill their political motives. The local agent of this is someone who tried to change the governance of good government during the recent past. He was a chairman of an agricultural organization. He also created an issue with the Minister of Agriculture and resigned from his post. The project has been handed over to someone who was once a chairman of an organization which served the farmers of this country.
Reports have emerged that the mobile phones belonging to several heads of media institutions have had signal issues this morning. On the 8th of August, the Daily Mirror, quoting the joint opposition, had reported that the quote-unquote desperate government was tapping phones. The report says that a special unit has been established for the above reason in the Nugegoda area. UPFA MP Dallas Alha-Peruma also spoke about the same subject on the 8th of this month.
Quite recently, high-tech equipment had been brought down to the country from Japan using the funds allocated for the development of military communication. It has been placed at a house in Nugegoda. It is being monitored by a DIG. I state with responsibility that the conversations of a majority of the journalists are being tapped into. It is not only listening to phone conversations of opposition MPs, it is listening into the phone conversations of members of the government itself. About 4 days ago, Minister Hakim made a statement about provincial councils. Now he has become a person of interest. The paper noted that a special police unit headed by a DIG had been established by the government to tap into people's phone conversations, and latest high-tech equipment had been brought down from Japan for the purpose.
The MPs in the opposition and the heads of media have turned off their mobile phones, and they use other numbers to make their phone calls. But as the former President Mahinda Rajapaksa says, what numbers they use, the person can be identified by their voice through the use of voice recognition. Due to this reason is why the people of this country voted against the previous regime and ruled them out of power. It has been revealed that a unit in a certain place in Nugegoda is recording these phone conversations and listens to them. This government did not do anything about this for 3.5 years. Please remove this place, or else soon the people of this country will raid this place. Don't let that happen. They didn't get votes by saying all of this. The Prime Minister, who was against these things, who said the media will be given full freedom, and this is how the freedom has been given.
In addition to monitoring your communications, there are other sinister implications of your phone being breached. Such breaches could allow vested parties to gain access to your passwords and personal data. They can use this data to compromise any number of systems that use your personal data for verification, such as your bank accounts. An easy way to safeguard yourself and your personal data. The Presidential Commission of Inquiry into Sri Lankan Airlines convened once again today to investigate into matters of abuse, misuse and mismanagement of the company's resources. The Commission again looked into matters regarding general sales agreements and its questionable financial transactions.
Testifying earlier today, a high-ranking official from the Bank of Ceylon stated that both Sri Lankan Catering and the wider Sri Lankan Airlines Group had both used the bank as a means of leveraging their financial requirements. Testifying before the Commission, the senior banker stated that this included bank guarantees, loans and overdrafts, which were often supported by guarantees from the Treasury to meet expenses related to working capital, penalty payments and other operations-related expenses. It was also revealed that in December 2014, a senior official of the Treasury had written to the Civil Aviation Authority stating that a rupee sum equivalent to US dollars 125 million was to be handed over to Sri Lankan Airlines for the purpose of debt settlement. This was reconfirmed by another letter written by KMAN Daulagala of State Enterprises to the Secretary to the Civil Aviation Authority, stating that funds must be transferred on a priority basis in the first quarter of the year 2015. This, however, has not transpired, and the official revealed that debts of more than 5 billion rupees are still to be paid to the Bank of Ceylon alone, with the government providing Treasury assurances to extend their grace period. In a shocking statement, the official further went on to declare that the government expects state banks to continue funding the state carrier until such point that the airline enters into a public-private partnership. He further added that the current processes followed by state banks in this regard are not typical of commercial banks, saying that funds offered to government could be used more profitably if it were offered to the private sector. A second witness appearing before the Commission provided further information on the general sales agreement signed with foreign parties to represent Sri Lankan Airlines overseas. She stated that Sri Lankan had initially had a GSA partner for the territory of Hong Kong but looked for a new partner following the expiry of the agreement. Following what was a violation of due process, then Chairman Nishantha Wickramasinghe had then intervened and recommended Pacific Air Limited to hold the GSA. Although the manual for the year 2009 states that a panel must meet and approve GSAs, no such approval was found with regard to the territory of Hong Kong. Wickramasinghe was also present at the CID unit of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry earlier today to provide statements on his alleged involvement in malpractices at the airline.
The proposal produced before Parliament to approve the salary of the Auditor General was withdrawn by Leader of the House, Minister Lakshman Kiriyalla.
Item number 27, sir. Withdrawn.
House agrees?
Aye.
Item number 27 included in the agenda was withdrawn by the Leader of the House. This was the proposal on the approved salary for Auditor General Gamini Vijayasinghe. This has been delayed for more than 3 years and you just withdrew it. We'd like to ask for a brief explanation of the basis you made this decision on.
The state decides matters about the government, so we will discuss this at a party leaders meeting.
When will you hold the party leaders meeting? The Auditor General has built a strong opinion in society about financial irregularities, so we suspect if you are attempting to slash his benefits and salary increments to weaken him in fulfilling his responsibilities.
Another project of the Gammadda 1000 Projects Initiative commenced in the Galenbindunuvava area today.
Residents of the Galenbindunuvava area have been unable to complete the Sunday school building of the Nethakunuvava Sipukulama Sri Sambuddha temple, and construction had been halted for an extended period of time. As a result, many of the students at the Sunday school had to receive education under the shade of trees. The construction commenced at an auspicious time this morning. The project is supported by Lanka Private Limited. The Administration Director of Newsfirst, Kitsiri Dayananda, and Newsfirst members, along with the General Manager of Eslon PLC, Chamara Lokupathagama, and the Brand Manager, Isuru Javira, were present at this occasion. Eslon Company and Gammadda Initiative Fund is sponsoring for this project.
This Gammadda project is not just for your village, it spreads throughout the island. I think these are the most active days of Gammadda initiative. This village and Sirasa have been very lucky. I would like to say that we genuinely appreciate your good efforts and we will take the full benefit of what you gift us.
The Government Information Department had issued a communique on the Singapore-Sri Lanka Free Trade Agreement. The communique does not have a header and does not contain the signature of the Attorney-at-Law Sudarshana Gunawardena, Director General of the Government Information Department.
When Newsfirst made inquiries about the matter from the Government Information Department, they said that the communique was issued based on the request of the Ministry of Development Strategies and International Trade. It is clear that the communique has been released to counter the arguments brought forward by the intellectuals who are speaking against the Singapore-Sri Lanka Free Trade Agreement. The matter was discussed at press briefing that was held today.
They made a fake document on the 16th of July to make the new trade policy the national trade policy. This is clearly mentioned by Minister Malik Samaravikrama, and it is mentioned in the Hansard on the 17th of July 2018. There is no mention of a meeting that was held on the 2nd of January 2018 in this.
තියෙනවයි කියන එක අද ඇමතුතුමා යවන ලියුම් වල පවා සඳහන් වෙලා තියෙනවා.
What we can see through the document that was sent out yesterday is that the general public are being misled through it. When we take a look at the explanation provided by the government, the cabinet and what Minister Malik Samaravikrama says in Parliament, they are contradictory.
මෙම ප්‍රකාශයේ තියෙන කාරණා එකිනෙකට ගැටෙනවා.
A main allegation against the Singapore-Sri Lanka Free Trade Agreement is that waste, including clinical waste and nuclear waste, can be brought into the country through it. Convening a media briefing at Sirikota, State Minister of National Policies and Economic Affairs, Dr. Harsha De Silva, refuted those claims.
The opinion that waste can be sent and brought through this FTA is completely wrong. The status quo still remains the same. We have published that list. The lists are published based on the agreement.
Though the minister refutes the claims that waste will be brought into the country through the FTA, the activists charge that there are provisions in the FTA that allow waste to be dumped in the country. It is not clear as to how the waste will be disposed. Gomisena Dera, who is a former Director General at the Department of Commerce, also spoke about the Singapore-Sri Lanka FTA and its implications to the country.
Last July, world largest garbage importer, China, notified to WTO that they are going to ban import of 24 types of waste, and since then world market for garbage and the world trade of garbage has gone totally out of control. With the Chinese ban, what happened is other countries who are dealing with garbage, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, ports were flooded with garbage. In response to that, they also have started restricting or banning import of garbage. So that is the situation. Now Singapore is one of the largest producers of plastic waste and polythene waste, and Singapore is very keenly looking for other markets. Now what surprises me is that China notified to WTO about the ban, saying that they are going to ban those imports of those products. We included in our positive list. We also, under services negotiations, included waste disposal services for industrial establishments. That means we have given a commitment that we will allow Singaporean companies to come to Sri Lanka and set up waste disposal services. What my concerns comes is there's a danger that Singapore will come under this agreement and establish a waste recycling plant. Under this agreement, Sri Lanka provide ideal conditions for such a relocation. Why I'm concerned is why China banned this. Now, according to Chinese Ministry of Environment, their statement, they say, we found that large amounts of dirty waste or even hazardous waste are mixed in the solid waste that can be used as raw materials. Now, if a Singaporean company comes here under the agreement and establish a plant for recycling and then start importing plastic waste, under this agreement, because we have opened it up, we cannot stop it.
When the debate pertaining to the bond scam was to be taken up in Parliament, TNA MP MS Sumanthiran requested for a Tamil translation of the Bond Commission report and delayed the debate from taking place. However, Sinhala or Tamil translations of the Singapore-Sri Lanka Free Trade Agreement have not been presented to the Parliament as yet. How did the MP not consider this fact? Does this not prove the close affiliations of MP MS Sumanthiran and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe? The President appointed the Presidential Commission of Inquiry. The general public are not satisfied with the actions that have been taken with regard to the report that was issued. The President should take a strong stance about these developments.
Moving on to sports news. Newsfirst had the opportunity to speak with former Sri Lankan cricketer and the current national coach of the Oman cricket team, Tulip Mendis.
When we speak about school cricket, we were in the forefront in Asia and even in the world in the past. Aravinda De Silva came into the national cricket team straight from school. I do not think that the situation is like that at present. Either there should be something wrong with the coaches or they must not be concentrating on their techniques. Our base is school cricket. That is how all the good players come up. No one comes for the under-23 age category. No one comes forward. We cannot overlook this and bring players into the national squad.
You have to give them a little time, because all of a sudden some of the seniors have gone out of the side. A lot of juniors have come in. When I say juniors without experience, they have come into the side. You need to give them enough and more time for them to blossom out. You are in good hands with Haturu Singh in charge. You have to give him a little time to put things right. I think you are on the right path as far as the cricket is concerned, because you are in good hands with Haturu. A little time to blossom out. They are very inconsistent right now. One day they are doing extremely well, another day they are not doing well. You need to be consistent at a higher level. So for that, you need to give them a little time. I am quite sure you give them a little time, your talent is there, I think they will come up to that standard.
What's your assessment about the Sri Lankan cricket administration currently?
Well, as you know, I was involved with administration for a long time as a past ex-employee of Sri Lanka cricket. I don't think it is the right time for me to comment on this. I'm sure things will come right and they will put things in order, and all what we want to see from outside is Sri Lanka cricket doing well.
If they invite you to join the Sri Lanka cricket administration, do you have a plan?
Well, right now, Roshan, I am thoroughly involved with Oman cricket. I have started building them and they have come up from nowhere. Not that I am not thinking about Sri Lanka cricket, that is always in my heart. When I watch Sri Lanka cricket very closely, and sometimes when they get out I throw things in the house, but still that is there with me. I can never forget Sri Lanka cricket, and maybe someday that we might be able to do something again, but right now currently I am thoroughly involved with Oman cricket.
Taking a look at another local story, speaking in Parliament today, leader of the Janatha Vimukti Peramuna said the current government has not conducted any investigation on 2 members of the party who were assassinated during the previous government.
On the 5th of April 2009, Nandana Balagi, an activist of our party, was shot dead during a campaign held for the Western Provincial Council elections, which was to be held on the 25th of April 2009. This was done by a group while following him in a white van. The suspects of this murder were supporters of the government at the time. They used that power to not arrest them and to not enact the law. The other incident took place during the presidential elections in 2010. Ambalangoda Municipal Councillor Chandradasa died on the 2nd of February 2010 after he was brutally assaulted by a group of government supporters at the time on the 25th of January 2010. The Ambalangoda police did not take any action against the thugs. It was because they were supporters of a powerful MP at the time. It was none other than Sajin Vaskunwardana. The legal actions of this assault and murder with eyewitnesses were suddenly swept under the carpet. Nothing happened to that too. It has been 3.5 years and not a single action was taken against this.
The
verdict of the case number 241/45 given by the Balapitiya Magistrate Court was that this was not a murder. The Attorney General has sent this to us. The case was closed after presenting facts to court. This is the current situation.
A group of thugs supporting Sajin Vaskunwardana assaulted Chandradasa and another group of people who were on election campaign. With him, 3 people were severely injured, and he died after he was admitted to the hospital. In January, he lodged a complaint saying his life was on threat. This happened 3 months after the complaint was lodged. Honorable Deputy Speaker, this murder was hidden. The Attorney General created a conclusion that this was a natural death and not a political assassination. I think it was Mohan Piris at that time. They tried to hide the issue instead of capturing the perpetrators. My request is that you personally look into these 2 matters.
Give it to me in writing. After obtaining instructions from the Attorney General, we'll see what we can do. We will do our best after holding discussions with the relevant parties.
Well, that's a wrap of your primetime news for tonight. Thanks for joining us. For the News First team, I'm Nicola De Zoiza. Take care and good night.